Okay, amazing. Get you on gallery. Yeah, I am so excited to bring this body of work to you. And, essentially, and I'm a cat person, so this is just like everything to me. We speak cat in my world. Yeah, my name is Nikki Ananda, and I have a Facebook group called the Diamond Light Temple. And we do monthly Q&A calls that are all about body-based, energetics-led business primarily, but it's through the lens of sacred feminine embodiment. And essentially, the body of work that I'm really here to deliver and introduce you to in our 1 hour, one expansive hour, time is going to expand inversely in this class today. But this is the body of work that is my life force, right? So I'm going to, in this class today, I have a lot of frameworks that I want to give you. And with this work, coming from this place of feminine embodiment and feminine energetics and body-based and energetics-led, it's like, what do all these things mean? It can get very etheric. So having these structures, having these frameworks in place is that masculine piece that allows the feminine to flow. So structures create boundaries, boundaries create containers, containers hold energy. So that's really what I want to bring first and foremost is these structures, these frameworks. And then I really want to invite you to take these into your life and continue to deepen and contemplate. There's so much I want to give all of you, and we have 1 hour together. So I want to start with just, grounding into the body and really starting from this really embodied place, this real present place. So if it is comfortable, inviting you here to just close your eyes down. And if eyes closed feels uncomfortable, softly gazing, whatever it takes to just bring the focus inwards for a second. Oh, and inviting in any yawns. We'll take 3 deep clearing breaths from this space, inhaling through the nose and exhaling with a sigh, with a sound through the mouth. So yeah, taking this time to just consciously arriving in your body, arriving in your breath. So most of the sessions that I bring forward have this connected piece, and you can start to slowly open your eyes and come back into the space. But when we take that moment to just acknowledge a transition, so we're transitioning from our mornings, from our days, from our evenings, depending on when you're listening to this. We're in a state of transitioning from one chapter of our day into the next. And I really want to set your body and your mind and your breath up to receive. I'm someone who loves information, especially like being on this path of feminine embodiment and working with the mystical and the esoteric, like having that structure, having that masculine, having the informative pieces is what really allows the magic and mystery to thrive. So that being said, I want to keep in mind that you'll have access to this recording, and it's not about like getting every little piece of information, but really just staying present. What hits your body in this moment now? Like, what is the one piece from today, from this session that you're here to walk away from? And if you get one piece out of all the pieces, that's perfect. That's more than enough. So before we drop in, I made a presentation for this, and I haven't made like a PowerPoint in probably 2 years. So this was even a big deal. But I'd love to hear like, what is your industry? So are you an entrepreneur? Do you work for a company? Like what is your line of work? Why are you in the space of body-based and energetics-led business and financial freedom? What brings you into this space? So if you want to throw in the chat, yeah, what your line of work is, what your business is. Another question I have is, are you making the money that you feel like you're meant to be making? It's a good question to ask. Um, and to follow up with that, if you were to be making more money, are you aware of where your values sit with that? So if it were, if there was an opportunity to say, increase your income by 50%, would it be, would you be open to sacrificing or trading off your wellness? Would you be open to trading off more of your time? Like really just looking at the value system here. And the reason I bring this forward is I've seen a lot of people in entrepreneurial spaces decide that money is more important than quality of life. And this is something that I don't stand for. For me, money would never be enough. It would never be enough to bring me happiness, peace, and joy. These are things that when we learn how to cultivate as much, like one of the big mantras of the women that are in my world is women that desire to have it all. The business, the money, the relationships, the sexuality, the health, all of it, the embodiment, the magic, the mystery, the awe, the wonder of life. There's nothing worth selling, right? There's nothing worth trading for money when we can actually have it all. Okay. Yoga therapist, integrative health coach. No, I would like to be making a lot more, but not trade off wellness or time. Perfect. Entrepreneur, analyst, herbalist, Reiki master, not making the money I want. Yes. Okay. Entrepreneur, mindset coach for women with autoimmune diseases. Amazing. Chronic illness and chronic pain. I'm making pennies right now. All right. So this class is for women inside of the group Spiritual Women of New England. So I'm going to make the assumption we're all spiritual here. We're all connected to something greater. All right. So when I started my journey, and I highly recommend, and I'm going to get her a copy of this recording. So I'm going to place this in my own places, probably inside of my Facebook group as well, with the bio that I put to invite people into the space. So for me, for my journey, when I started my healing path, it was all about me first. And I feel like most of us, when we start on this journey, we're doing this work for us first. It doesn't necessarily come into our mind like, how can I make money off of this? And then eventually there's the question or there's the opportunity of, oh, I get to make money off of this. I get to exchange my spiritual gifts and my purpose and make a living from this. So over, we'll say 7 years of just focusing on this work for myself, people started showing up at my door and being like, what do you do? I want what you do. So I started coaching, doing energy work, and all of these things, and my business was organically born. Long story short, a few years later, all of a sudden my business dried up. And before that, I had no business training. I was anti-business training. No formal coaching on business, never took a sales class, never did any of that in college. Everything I was doing was intuitive, and that felt right. Like I knew I was here to lead business intuitively until it all dried up. And then I started realizing, oh, there's actually some skill sets here that I am meant to develop. And I found this entire world of mentors and coaches that were doing business the way that very similar to the way that I knew business was meant to be done, which was to the values of body first, energetics led, God driven, right? And whatever your relationship with the word God is, God, Goddess, source, creator of the most high, I'm personally on a journey of reclaiming the masculine word God for the past few years. So I'll use the word God, but I'll invite you here to replace it with source, creator, whatever it is that you connect to. Don't let my language limit you, please. But I knew that there was a way to link money, purpose, my soul mission in a way that was synergistic that I could thrive. So my background when it came to my spiritual work is I was very blessed and very lucky to find this community of women with a lot of lineage, like deep roots, lots of elders. And really the reason that we're all here today, I believe, is because of the roots, the lineage that's kept alive in this community. Now, with this community, like most of us are aware of, there's a history of a taboo around money being exchanged for spiritual gifts. So this was one of the very first codes I had to crack, and it wasn't conscious. I really want to name that. I did not consciously think I shouldn't be making money from exchanging my spiritual gifts. It was something that was so insidious in my being. And whether you believe in past lives or parallel lives or energetics or string theory, like however you relate to it, there is a collective imprint that says our spiritual gifts should not be exchanged for money, or money isn't sacred, money isn't holy. One of the things that I really felt for myself was I was holier than money when I first started my business. Like that was a thing. I was so proud of being better than money, never worrying about money until I had to worry about the money, until all of a sudden money mattered. So for me, there was never a moment where I was like, I am going to hustle and make money. I'm going to give away my values. That was not my path. My path was, what is the merging point? What is this gap? How do I bridge this gap where the more I am thriving in life, the more money I make? And the more fulfilled I feel in purpose, the more money I make. And this is where I came to the body of work that I've developed personally, that's been inspired by a million mentors and lineage, of course, of having a body-based and energetics-led business model. Okay, let me share my screen before I just do this whole thing without the presentation that I put my heart into. 1 second. Okay, let's see. Present. Okay. Can everyone see this fine? Okay. So creating financial freedom through a body-based and energetics-led business model. This is what we're here for. Okay. So through my path, like the beginning of my journey, it was all about mind and body. This is where it started for me. It started with healing my own mind, consciousness liberation, and then learning about somatic healing and releasing trauma through the body. And when I started to do this, when I started to connect the dots, like this is when I really learned that our bodies are a divine instrument. Like we're not just here, like floating around. For a long time, I thought the ascension game was like, how do I ascend out of humanity? How do I ascend beyond this human game? Like that's really what I thought life and spirituality was about. How do I beat the game? And through my journey, through my healing work, it started with healing the mind, getting out of the stress, the scarcity, the fear, all of the worry, and then coming into the body and starting to release the imprints. So when I started serving these were the areas that I started to serve people in, all people, all genders. What ended up happening was I started to attract, as we do, a lot of women with a certain flavor for sexual trauma and a certain desire for sexual reclamation. And I realized that most of these women were walking a path that I had walked. So here I started to niche in sacred sexuality, somatic sex ed, sexological body work, like this became my area of study. As this developed, at the peak of my work around sexuality was when my business just organically dried up. And there's other, I could do a whole class on all of the little energetic things that were off, as to why it dried up, but ultimately it put me on the path of understanding money and understanding business. So when I started to go on this journey now of understanding and decoding wealth, decoding money, decoding business, I learned so deeply that the energetics of money, sex, and power were exactly the same. So this started to blow my mind. I started to connect the dots that our capacity to hold pleasure in the body was the same capacity to hold our own power, our own personal power, which is our own capacity to hold wealth, to hold money. So these circuits that are running through the body, I see everything as circuitry. I see everything. The lens that I experience this world through and how I deliver my work is understanding that we are here. This body is a temple and it's a divine instrument that's giving us all of the information we could ever need. So when I started to see money and sexuality and power as currents, electrical currents that are running through the body, it became very clear of the pathway, the trajectory is to develop the capacity to hold these currents within the energetic body. That's a class on its own. I do have, so one of the things that I want to do in this hour that we have together is resources are power and resources are value. And I have a lot of places that I can point people in the directions of. If you are someone that develops online classes or courses or has online offerings, this is the workshop. I am the workshop right now. This is the way that we start to compound the wealth, is by creating these programs that exist in the ethers that we can point people to that are valuable. We have wealth and value floating in the ether, so it's not trading our time for money, and we can point people in that direction. One of the first things that I had to decode when I was doing this work around money and wealth energetics is money does not equal time. Money and time are not related. Money equals value. So we can create something of ultimate value, and our value comes from our presence, our devotion, whatever it is that we value, and we share the value with someone who values it. We can create that in one moment in time, and that can exist forever, for as long as we desire it to exist. And there's a way that we continue to profit financially from something that is no longer attached to us giving our time. So we give ourselves 1 hour, devote fully, give our all to whatever class it is that we're creating. And this is just a practical pin, like a side note here. We give our full presence, we give full value into 1 hour. And that 1 hour of value that exists within the ethers, exists within this recorded class, gets to compound in monetary revenue over the years. So we want to be mindful of this. This is the one, detangling time from money is one of the most liberating things we can do. So one of the first things I want to talk about is the 4 pillars of liberation, and money is the final pillar, the 4th pillar. And when we detangle money from time, we are free to play the money game at a much higher level. All right. So as I was saying, I am the masterclass in the demonstration of this. I have a Facebook group, the Diamond Light Temple, that has a bunch of free programs. One of them is the 4 pillars of liberation. That's the one in a money wounds class. Those are the 2 I recommend for anyone in this class to start with. And there's a ton in there. Inside the Diamond Light Temple, I have an up-leveled experience called the Priestess Membership, which is my low-ticket membership. You get access to the monthly Diamond Light Temple Q&A calls. We have monthly calls that are free for everyone in the group, but the replays are available to women inside of the Priestess Membership. On top of the replays, you get a monthly exclusive call. And the monthly calls are all themed on whatever's relevant in the collective. So I'm saying this now because the call that we have for the month of April is called The Currents, and it's all on money, sex, and power. So this is a class that's upcoming in my Priestess membership. Definitely start inside of the Diamond Light Temple. But if you're interested in that energetic of understanding how to build that capacity to hold more sexuality, more power, more money, that's the class for you. Okay, so all that to be said, this journey through healing the mind, healing the body, healing through sexuality and money, it really became that my position on this planet in this space is to offer mentorship for entrepreneurial women who are on the Sacred Feminine Embodiment Path. This is where it all comes together. If you guys knew how long it took me to find the sentence to summarize what I do, I'm sure you've all struggled similarly. I'm very proud of that sentence. Okay, so body-based and energetics led. It's going to keep 222. Perfect. Bueno. What does this mean? So when I talk about body-based and energetics led, the most important part of, and I don't know, are people familiar with human design? I love human design. So I'm a manifester in human design, which means I need a lot of rest, a lot of rest. And there's nothing in me that ever wanted to bypass, whether it's my menstrual cycle or a day that I knew I just needed to be horizontal in bed. None of that would be worth money ever. So there had to be this way of syncing up. Like if I'm doing what feels best in my body, this has to be magnetic for wealth. And to understand that body base, like this is the whole trusting that my body is a divine instrument. And if my body is saying, I get to rest now, or I need rest now, I have a funny thing about the word need, but if my body is calling me to rest, I have a belief that that rest is generating me wealth, because my body is not going to steer me away from the natural currents of wealth, prosperity, and abundance. And this is just a belief that all of you can take on. The belief is that my body is in harmony and synchronized with the currents that I am building, with wealth, with prosperity, with abundance. It's just a belief. Most of this work, and when we talk about the 4 pillars of liberation, the belief work is in the mind, but it has to resonate in the body. So there was no way whatsoever that I was going to hustle or sacrifice my energy in order to bring wealth. So I had to find the belief that felt true in my body. And when women come into my world, they get to calibrate to the belief. Now, with human design, with being a manifester, I have a very dramatic amount of rest that I need. So that is why I feel I'm uniquely positioned to support women with having a body-based and energetics-led model. I think human design really supports the angle that I come in this with. So energetics-led, what this means is we're not forcing our success through cerebral strategy. It really is what feels good. Where are the energetics aligned? Are we aware of what's expansive? Are we aware of where the contractions are? So the very first class when I opened up the Priestess membership over the summer was a class called Embodied Energetics. And this is an attunement to feeling energetics in the body, understanding when we are leaning into like what abundance feels like in the body. It's the same as expansion. And there's a deep peace, there's a satisfaction, there's a success to that feeling. So when we can, the class Liberation Beyond the False Matrix, the false matrix is all about the fear motivating. And when we can find that matrix that exists beyond the false matrix, it's all energetics that are running this course. So we get to align with what feels good. We get to really feel into where is the expansion and trust that in a way that's not cerebral, it's not logical. When we're talking body-based and energetics-led, we're moving through the realms of magic. We're not playing a logical game. And we want the logic to back the magic. We want the strategy to support the energetic. So it's not like we're bypassing the mind completely and totally. It's that we're leading with the energetics, and then all the strategy comes into place. One of the things that we see a lot in entrepreneurial spaces is there's so many sales tactics. I'm going to ruffle some feathers with this. There's so many, do this, make $10,000, do this, gain this, do this, do this. And there's a promise of a result. The result will happen when we believe the person who is speaking and we believe their strategy, but it will not be sustainable. Strategy is always emergent. So when we can believe, when we can fall into, if somebody resonates with us and they're like, this is the strategy that's going to work for you, we can get lucky, right? We can get lucky that that strategy works, but it's always going to be custom. There's always going to be an aliveness to the process. There is no one solution, and we all want that. Of course, we want that. We want the simplicity of the one solution. This is the one way. Oh, I cracked the one code to have all of the easeful and successful launches. But it's not like that. It's really not like that. And because when I started this too, I thought there was one thing people understood about money that I didn't understand. I thought there was one thing people understood about launching that I didn't understand. And what it came down to was investment. And what I mean by investment, and we're going to talk about this towards the end, is the investment of focus, of time, of energy, and of money. There's the saying you have to spend money to make money, and that's true and it's not true at the same time. What matters is our focus. What matters is our presence. What matters is our energy. What matters is the time that we're devoted to developing certain skills. So when we are invested, it's never one thing. It's never one class. It's never one mentor. It's never one strategy. It's the emergent of our own personal power through being committed and invested to being all in on the journey. So to point in another direction, I have this class that's called the All In Frequency. And it really is about that energetics, because this makes all of the difference. When we're all in, the heat gets to build, and that's where the results are. Versus when we dabble all in and then we pull out. We dabble all in and then we pull out. We're not riding that energetic momentum, and the results that we desire are never going to come on the timeline that we prefer if we continue to open the oven as it's trying to heat up, right? Like, this is what we're playing with. So how hot can we allow the oven to get without opening the door to check if it's hot, right? How long can we actually hold the tension? Another class I have for free inside the Diamond Light Temple is Conscious Menstruation and Cyclical Alchemy. And this is not your basic menstruation class. And it's for all women, even if you no longer have a womb. It's understanding cyclical alchemy and the whole art of holding the tension is one of the most important pieces that we as women are here to master. And with this, the holding the tension, holding the pressure, our power, again, we're talking currents here, money, sex, power. Our power is determined by how much stress and pressure we can hold in the body without being dysregulated. I did this program Thaw recently, the Heart Awakened Womb, and it's my favorite body of work that I've ever done. I was crying through the whole thing when I produced this because it's my heart's work. It was this whole journey of cracking this code of manifestation through a feminine embodied place. And one of the biggest pieces, we have this practice of bringing energy down into the womb. And one of the things I noticed about myself is, because most of us here are alchemists, like we're really good at transmuting things. So if there was any stress in my life, I would transmute it immediately. How fast can I get the stress out of my life? Like that was the game. I didn't understand that the game of power, the game of creating diamonds, was how much pressure can I hold without needing to transmute it? How much tension can I hold and ground in my body without making a story about it? So this is part of the emotional intelligence and energetic mastery that is essential for when we're weaving this path together, the body-based and energetics-led business model. Okay. So what is financial freedom? Yeah. Money alone does not bring safety and freedom. The inward journey holds the keys to success and fulfillment, ascension through business. There's a bigger game that transcends all industries. Ignore that spelling error that my Virgo rising is going to go crazy about. Okay. We see people, this really blew my mind when I started going all in on the money journey. I was meeting people that had like $500,000 in the bank and they were in scarcity. And I was like, how? Like, how are you in scarcity when you have this much money? I remember even the first imprint I have of this, I think I was in high school, and I remember my best friend had just paid in cash her car insurance for the year. And I was like, how does someone do that? And she was like, oh, I don't have much money. And she had like $2,000 in her savings account. And to me, that was millions. And I was like, whoa. So I started to really look at this and really look at, because for me, with my journey of money, it didn't matter. And for all of us, when we think of money, there's something that we're actually desiring. So yes, there's the freedom. So, the name of this class around financial freedom through a body-based and energetics-led model. To me, the key to the freedom was safety. The key to the freedom was trust. Because I saw people with copious, disgusting amounts of money, beautiful amounts of money, and living in scarcity, living in distrust, where from the outside in, it was like, well, if you can make this money, you can make it again. If you can do this once, you can do it again. And we learn so much about our own power when we look at what we're saying about other people. So ultimately, when we're doing this work, when we're looking at financial freedom, and we're going to talk about this, we're going to come back around to it. When it comes to money work, it's all relational. And I talk about this in the Money Wounds program that's free inside of the Diamond Light Temple. So I have all these resources because an hour is not enough with you guys. An hour is not enough. So I want to make sure you have everything you could ever want. In the Money Wounds program, it's called Money Wounds, Somatic Processing for Personal Power. And essentially, it's the alchemy, it's understanding, and it's not just money, right? Like money is the symbol, money is the teacher, money gets to be this guide, money is the key for our ascension. Like this phrase, ascension through business, we get to link our spiritual development with our financial freedom. We get to link our spiritual ascension and embodiment with our business success. We get to do that. That's a choice. We get to consciously choose that. So when we're doing the work around money wounds, when we're looking at money, money is the root chakra, right? And this is why money, sex, power, it's all the same. It's the root and it's the sacral. So it's our safety. It's also our creativity. So when we're doing this work, it's deep, deep nervous system work of being able to calibrate to different intensities, not just the intensity of losing money, but of having money. Because ultimately, when we're working with these, we'll say the energetic realms of manifestation, like true manifestation, in order to have, we have to be willing to not have. And this is the non-attachment piece that gets very tricky when we want something. So there's a whole, like, this is a whole thing that I would invite you to contemplate. As if you want, say your goal is to have $100,000 a year, or a $500,000 a year, or $1 million a year, like whatever that stretches. Imagine having it, and then imagine not having it. Imagine having it taken away. Can you hold the possibility of it not being there? Because the way that we work in this world on earth, in this 3D earth plane, is we're here to learn through duality. And it doesn't mean, and I want to be clear, because it's not like everything good has something bad that's going to happen to it. Like when we talk about holding the duality, and we're talking about manifestation and calling things down into our embodiment, into the realms, we have to hold the fullness of what is. So even in this moment, if we have a financial goal that we're not meeting, technically not meeting right now, we're technically without it. So can we hold the without judging it, without making it wrong, without making it bad? Can we be with what is and desire what it is that we actually desire for the sake of fun, for the sake of desire, without attaching meaning to it as well? So this in itself is its own little portal we could go down. But ultimately, when we're doing this work, the point to all of this is there's a direct link. There's a link that as we grow in our business, as we grow in this money work, that we get to grow in our own personal development. Ultimately, what I want to see every woman in their life achieve is being fully unleashed in business, in body, in finances, in sexuality, and in connection to God and the mystery. Because ultimately, to me, anyways, and if you're here, we're resonant on some level. It's like that magic, the mystery, the connection to God, source, spirit. Like that's it. So if we get to have that, and then we get to be wealthy at the same time, it's perfect. Like we get to have it all. We get to have it all. All right, let's see. Um, Beautiful. All right, take care. Yes. Okay. All right, so the 4 pillars of liberation. So like I said, inside of my Facebook group, the Diamond Light Temple, I have a class that I just did a couple months ago on liberation beyond the false matrix. And it's a four module class. The first module is on the mind, second is on body, third is on sex. That class specifically is like, people really fucking love that one. Can I swear on this? I'm going to swear on this. Pardon my French. And then money. So ultimately, without getting too deep into the conspiracy rabbit hole, because we don't need to, there are certain bondages that we're held within. There is this false matrix, and by false matrix, I mean there's a set of beliefs. There's these standards, these beliefs, just limiting beliefs, false beliefs that have kept us imprisoned to a certain reality. And I believe we're all here on this journey of, and I want to be careful using the word ascending, but of spiritual evolution, and finding our freedom and finding our sovereignty. When it comes to like polarity teachings, they'll say, and we have both masculine and feminine within us, right? So the masculine part within us is all about liberation and freedom. And the feminine aspect within us is all about love. So anything that is not that, anything that's basing us in fear, in scarcity, in doubt, in shame, in guilt, in punishment, all of those things exist within the false matrix. Yesterday, we did this class, or it was an activation inside the priestess membership. And I don't know if anyone's familiar with the mythos of Inanna and the descent of Inanna, but we did this full journey where Inanna, us as Inanna, goes down into the underworld to meet Ereshkigal. And in that energy, in that underworld energy, starting to see and unpack the layers of shame, of guilt, of punishment, distraction, these things that block us from being in our full freedom. So it was a whole activation, a whole journey of releasing the queen of the underworld to embody and activate the queen of heaven. And when I started this journey, I had a big background in trauma healing. I used to be a social worker as well, and healing sexual trauma and doing all of these things. I told my coach, I was like, I have mastered the queen of the underworld. I am ready to be the queen of heaven. Like I understand the underbelly of all of the things. Like show me the wealth, show me the beauty, show me the joy. And that was really the current that got me on this path. So this class that I have, the four pillars of liberation, or liberation beyond the false matrix, if you are interested in going deeper, I highly recommend jumping into that class. It's the first one. All of these classes are pinned inside of the Facebook group. But these are the like, it's through my own journey. The first thing was liberating my mind and starting to think freely, and psychedelics help with that, right? Like that was a big part of my journey through, was healing through psychedelics, and then somatic healing and learning ancestral karma lives in the body, and so does my personal karma. Like all of this unpacking, doing fascia work, sexological body work, even though that's more sex. When I really mastered the body as the temple, yoga really opened up that portal for me as well. Then came the deepening into understanding the power of the womb, of womb work, of the connection that sex is so much more than what we think it is. Everything in this body, our embodiment, our earth ship, right? Like everything that we're doing here on earth has a spiritual meaning that goes beyond what we can. It's much more wild than what we could ever comprehend, right? Like that's the thing. So when we look at this, like what is sex? Sex is the ritual that creates life, like literally. And our bodies, women, we have a chalice in our body that souls come in and land in our body, and we grow humans. Like this is crazy. Like it's so miraculous. We are so miraculous. And when we really start to look at this, when we really start to look at how miraculous life is, and then we bring money into the equation, it's like, if I can be here, of course I can make the money that I want to make. Of course I can have the success that I want to have. Like, of course, we're all creating whatever it is that we desire to create, whether we're conscious of it or not. And there's nuance to that. But to me, the whole game is about becoming more conscious, more intentional. I had a friend say to me once, he's like, any woman, the goddess is the elements, right, of destruction and creation. That's what the goddess is. And he's like, any woman knows how to destroy, but it takes a true goddess to know how to create. And I was like, that's it. That's it. We all know Kalima. Okay. So when we're talking about personal development, and like I said, like this is an inward journey. So it's an inward out. When we do this personal work, of course, it gets to affect our money, our finances. So unless we're selling our soul to something dark, if we're doing this work right, if we're on this path of integrity, if we're really allowing ourselves to merge and have this spiritual growth, spiritual evolution, means I'm fulfilled in my embodiment and my business and my money. When we start to link these things consciously in a way that serves us, not in a way that punishes us, right? Like this is, I want to put this in here, because it's never that I'm doing it wrong, I don't get to make money. That's not what we're doing. It's always I'm growing and evolving and I get to make money along the way. I want to be crystal clear about this. We're not creating beliefs or installing beliefs that limit or choke whether we're worthy of money or not. That's not the point. The point is that the deeper we go into our own embodiment and our own personal development, the more we know our own true creative nature, and the more we get to share that value that we've been cultivating for ourselves, our own diamonds. And we get to play the money game where we exchange the value that we've cultivated for ourselves with other people who see the value. And that's it. So it doesn't matter if you're a hairstylist or a coach or a massage therapist. When we're in these realms of working with people, our embodiment, our frequency, who we be is part of what we're exchanging, right? Like we are the medicine. And then we have all these arts, like it's the healing arts, right? Or like whatever it is, even doing hair is a healing art, right? Like we know this if we do hair. All of this, it's the artistry of bringing forward our personal work. So when we can start to see that everything that we work on for ourselves directly impacts and influences what we're here to bring to the world, no matter where it is. Even, I have clients that work in offices, and it's like, you're here to bring that light and anchor that light into the office. Like you're doing the work, and God, goddess, source, creator writes the paychecks for you being embodied in your work. When you know your own value and you start to see value, that's what makes you an energetic match for more and more money. So when it comes to personal development, I want to be mindful of the time. I'm also a rule breaker. And since nobody's really monitoring this, I might go over. And I understand if people have to pop off, but you get the replay. So with the personal development, what we want to be looking at, these are really, again, just 4 pillars, frameworks to look at. It's personal power and responsibility. Are we being fully responsible for everything that's in our life? Where are we leaking power? Where are we leaking responsibility? Where are we dodging? Because where we dodge energy, we're also dodging money, right? So it's really about how can we be even more responsible? Okay, perfect. So say, the priestess membership is always mind-blowing, by the way. Highly recommend. Yeah, thank you, Lauren. Yeah, Lauren's inside, bringing all her magic with her babes. Okay, so emotional intelligence. So this is also super, super important. Emotions are literally energy in motion. Like that's what we're working with when we're working with the emotional body, energy in motion. I talk about this a lot in the Money Wounds program, so you can go deeper into that. Also, I have a program called Healing Through the Feminine Wounds, which is directly related to all of this, of course. And the introduction to that class, Healing Through the Feminine Wounds, is also inside the Diamond Light Temple. And I do a very, like, I love getting into the technology of how triggers work and how the energies work and how these sacred mirrors work. So that introduction of Healing Through the Feminine Wounds is absolutely incredible. I highly suggest that for looking at emotional intelligence and energetic mastery. And then the last part of this is embodiment, right? Like we want to be embodied in who we be. We want to be embodied in our power. We want to be embodied in our medicine. So these are the personal development areas to focus on. Okay, embodiment. I have this program. I believe Lauren was in it actually, that I did a year and a half ago. It's called Arrive Awakening the Temple. And it's like the creme de la creme of my programs. It's one of my favorite things that I've ever done. And it's all about awakening temple consciousness. And there's 5 modules, and 4 of the modules each focus on one of these quadrants of health. And when we're looking at embodiment, it's so we can keep our channel open and clear, because wealth, abundance, prosperity, like these are all God-like frequencies. These are all like, people are like, oh, wealth is your birthright. And it's like, yeah, that kind of makes sense, but it's actually an energetic attunement. And if we want to be attuning energetically, because with law of attraction, right, or string theory, or understanding how energetics work, God doesn't give us what we want. God gives us who we be. It's who we are being. It's the frequency in our body that we're a vibrational match for. So if we are trying to become, or if we are becoming a new frequency or a new vibrational match, we have to install that frequency into our embodiment. And we do that by keeping our channel open, wide, and clear. So these quadrants of health, rest, cleansing, nourishment, and activity, these are the 4 pillars to make sure that we're on top of doing what our body is asking us to do in this moment now, to open and clear the channel. And every moment is going to be different. There's going to be times where it's like, I need to cleanse. I need to be in the shower more. I need to drink more water. There's going to be times where it's like, I need to get my vegetables in my body. There's going to be times where it's like, I need to spend 2 days in bed. I just need to go out flat for a little while. And there are going to be times that it's like, I need to be exercising 2 hours a day. Like, it's so variable that this is a process that we need to stay awake and alive with. We get to stay alert with. It's not something like, oh, here's the textbook, here's what you do step by step. And this is what I was saying about strategies. There's no blanket strategy that works for everyone. When we're linking ascension through business, it's about how conscious can we become? How much can we allow the mystery in our field? How can we allow ourselves to be expanded by awe and wonder? How much can we really allow these frequencies to start to interplay, so we're not trying to control, and we are profoundly intentional with every action that we take? Because there is a difference between trying to control and manipulate because we don't trust, versus having full intention and taking aligned action that doesn't deplete our energy. So this is one of the things when we look at, business and hustle, we can get in the space of like, I don't have the results that I want, so I need to do more. And it's not about doing more. It's about the quality of who we be while we are doing that creates the effects. It's who we are being while we are doing that matters most. I talk about this in everything that I ever touch, ever touch. There's a million classes inside the Priestess membership that go into this. And again, the Diamond Light Temple Q&As, those are open to everyone that's inside of the Facebook group, and they're profound. Like the questions that people have, the answers that come through. Okay. So when I was making the slideshow presentation, this was a slide that was in my template that's actually from the Healing Through the Feminine Wounds program. And I was like, oh, I think I actually want to keep this in here. So feel your feelings all the way through. You will hear me say this all of the time. Our body is a sacred instrument. All feelings are here to support our evolution. So emotions, energy, and motion, feelings. So especially with human design, if you're an emotional authority, I could riff on this for days and days and days and hours and hours and hours, but we're all human and we all have emotions. So our soul communicates to our conscious mind through the body. Sensations in the body will turn up as we become triggered. Whether it's emotional or physical, honor your experience without judgment. This is the key to seeing beyond the veil. You could unpack this for like a week, and I'm going to leave this here. You guys are going to get copies of the presentation. I just had the intuitive hit to keep this in. Okay. Bridging personal development to business development. Investing in growth from a place of desire, not lack. This is one of the things that I deeply wish, hope, pray, and intend that everyone will take away from this class. In a world where we have infinite offers and programs and opportunities to develop our, invest, I should say, in our personal development or invest in our business development, there is a huge difference in who we are being while we are doing. And I'm going to replace the words. There is a huge difference in who we are being when we're being from a place of, I'm really excited to invest in this versus I'm not enough and I need to invest in this. Those are profoundly different energetics. And who we are being while we take the action matters more than anything. So when we are investing and moving money from a place of lack, I'm not enough, I don't have enough, what do we get back? More evidence of not enoughness versus I am excited to invest in this. It feels good to be in this space. I desire to do this is a completely different energy from I am not enough, I need more, I need to consume. So when we're talking about energetics led, this is foundational. And with the work specifically around money that I'm here to really bring into this world, I really want to support women specifically in understanding how to work investments. And the biggest mistake, and I have a class, I did this last month inside the Priestess membership. So I want to say with the Priestess membership, it's $88 a month. There's a 3-month minimum commitment. And then after that, you can leave whenever you want. You get a vault of classes, a vault of programs when you enter. I did a program last month called The Energetics of ROI. And this was a full hour-and-a-half class that is worth, $1,000 in itself. I highly recommend this class. Going into the depth of where I have seen, where I've witnessed people let go of the momentum of their investments. I've seen a whole different array of people and how they move money, how women have been moving money. And one of the things I see is women feeling scarcity, like they're not enough. So they'll take out a lot of money, throw a lot of money, invest on their credit cards and just throw it out and then let go and have no conviction or responsibility to what they've invested in. There's no connection to calling back in the return of investment. We get to be connected to all of our investments, no matter when they were made. And through that power, because money is power. When we invest, money, sex, power. When we invest our money, and our time and our energy into a program, a class, whatever it is, it doesn't even have to be any of that. When we put our money there, we're putting our power there. Our responsibility is to be a magnet for that power, not to leak it. But a lot of people, again, nervous system work, we're stretching our capacity to hold more pleasure, to hold more wealth, to hold more responsibility. It's nervous system work. We're training our bodies to hold more. We get to hold the responsibility of the investments that we made and command the return. And we command the return through the body. And there's beliefs and there's stories and there's all of this. But like I said, I did a 90-minute class on return of investments in itself. Every woman needs to hear that class. Okay. But we get it, right? We get the difference between investing in something because I want to versus I'm not enough. And the ripple effects. This is like, again, if you take one thing away, oh my God, you will save yourself. I learned this lesson so fucking fast. Sorry, but I did. I learned that lesson. I tell that story in some of my classes. Okay. So yes, we want to do things. We want to be focused on our personal development. We want to be mindful of the inner work, but there's also really practical skill set that we get to develop. I, in my blissful ignorance, beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, thought being a good practitioner was enough to have a successful business. It is not. Practitioner skills are not enough to have a successful and thriving business. All right. So our skill set development increases our value, right? Like, can we all agree on this? And when we think about money, it's not about if we're worthy of money or not. It's what are we bringing to the marketplace? What is the value that we're exchanging? And are we actually speaking to the people that value the things that we are valuing? So it's value. We're looking at value. It's not about worth, it's about value. So the skill set development that really help us increase our value is, of course, practitioner skills. As we increase our skills for whatever it is that we are a practitioner of, our value goes up. But then we have business skills. So this can look a wide array of things, but that's more that masculine. I really see the practitioner as the artistry, it's the feminine. But the business is, do we have the structure in place? Is it easy for people to pay us? Are the channels there? Is our website, are we making the offers? All of these things. Under this, I put sales and marketing skills as separate from business skills because it is business skills. I also like to keep the consistent four. It's the Virgo rising thing. But I want to emphasize the sales and marketing because we can have great business skills, but then when it comes to sales, we're like, I don't want to. And that's its own developing and understanding, like us selling. So again, I'm the workshop, right? I'm telling you all about all of these programs. It's because I know the value and I don't feel like I'm selling something. It's sticky. It's like I have value and it's my responsibility to show you the way. And I'm not pressuring. There's no pressure. It's an invitation. But if I didn't show you the door or the window or the invitation, then I'm not in alignment or integrity. I'm doing a disservice. So we want to look at this. Our sales and our marketing is our service. Our sales and our marketing is the gift. If we have a gift that we're here to share with the world and we're not selling and we're not marketing, then we're not doing anyone a favor, right? Like our sales is the favor. Our sales is part of the responsibility. So it's learning how to do sales in a way that feels good to you. And it's not, and I could go off on all of this about we don't use pain points. We don't need to manipulate through pain points because when we manipulate through pain points, we have people desire or buying from a place of lack. And when people are buying from us from a place of lack, they're not going to be in their power to have the results that give us the clients that have the best fucking results. We want people to be buying from us from a place of personal power. We want people to feel excited and in their power when they give us money for service. So there's a way that we can market to power as opposed to pain point. And this is everything, 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 everything. I have classes on that inside of the Priestess membership as well. And then money skills. Again, I thought business skills and money skills were the same thing, and they are not. They are not. Money skills are their own energetic set. And there's currents that we're working with, but it's getting in right relationship. Of course, the money skills and business skills overlap when it comes with sales because sales are the channel for money to arrive to us. So we need the clarity of the energetic channel of sales to be there in order for money to arrive to us. We need a business that has a product that's valuable, that is exchanged for money in order for the money to come to us. When we're talking about financial freedom through a body-based and energetics-led model, when we're talking about making money through our business, but money comes from all directions, but we're talking specifically about money and business here. Okay. You are the medicine. No one else has your frequency. Your story holds the keys. What is the story that you are telling? What you seek is not outside of yourself. So I want to keep this, especially when we're developing skill set. I'm a 5-1 manifestor. So my one line wants all the information. I want all the trainings. I want to do all of the things and I want to know all of the things. And it will never be enough. But that does not mean I'm not worthy of making money now. Right. So we want to look at the ways that we're very sneaky about, I don't have enough. I'm not qualified enough. And I could go on a whole rant about certifications and how they're BS and all of these things, but we want to be trained and we want to be qualified. We want to be confident in what it is. And there's always more. There's always more. So when we say like what you seek is not outside of yourself, it's not in another training, it's not in another skill set development. And there is that. But ultimately, you are the medicine. It's your frequency. It's your path. Like you're here delivering what you've experienced for yourself. It's your transformation that's magnetic. So if you know that you are the medicine, no one else has your frequency. No one can replicate what you're doing. It's not possible. You're responsible for showing up with your unique voice so your people can find you. I strongly believe with everything in my body that we are here with soul contracts. There are webs of people that we're here, that we are destined to work with, that we are meant to work with. And they can't find us if we're not showing up in our unique frequency. And our story holds all of these keys to what makes us original, because ultimately we're all channeling source healing energy, right? Like it doesn't matter the modality, we're all here delivering. Even if you're doing hair, we're channeling in like beauty and radiance and all of these things. No matter what it is, we're channeling in from something bigger than us, but it's being filtered through our unique lived experience. So it's really important that we show up to life, that we're embodied in our frequency, that we're bringing it forward so we are visible for our people to find us. Just like the sales, like the sales are our responsibility, but so is just being, so is just saying yes to life. We are the medicine. No one else has your frequency. So if you're not embodying it, then your people can't find you. Okay. And then with what is the story that you are telling? I go into this really deep. This is part of the emotional intelligence piece, but it really is. I have this class. This is probably one of my favorites that I did inside the Priestess membership. It's called Mosaic. And it's all about how our relationship gets to feed our embodiment, gets to feed our business, gets to feed our money, like the whole interconnected journey, that whole piece. And a main part of this is understanding that it's the stories that we're telling ourselves that make the difference. Are we allowing ourselves to see the connection? Are we allowing ourselves to see and feel, not just see, but actually feel all of this is serving me? One of the biggest stressors, I would go into, it's hard without a lot of context, but we'll say like, I'm here to learn through the karma of relationships. I was adopted when I was an infant, so I have a lot of abandonment things that I've had to work out through my life. So with that, understanding when these wounds, when these triggers would come up, that they are here serving me. They're not here because I'm not enough. They're not here because I'm not healed. They're not here because I'm not worthy. They're here because it's developing my mastery of whatever it is that I'm serving. So when we can start to see that everything in life is serving us to become the most liberated, unleashed version of self, there's a cohesion that happens. We're no longer compartmentalizing different parts of our life. And there's a soul fulfillment that happens from that. And it's not, we don't like, yes, we want money. We want all the money. We want all the money and we get to have it all. But we want the soul fulfillment. Like we want the magic. We want all of it. We want the health. We want the vitality. We want the relationship. We want the business. We want the dream clients. We want the money. We want it all. We want it all. So Mosaic specifically, it's about decompartmentalizing, let go of the compartmentalizing. And we do that by really looking at what is the story that we're telling ourselves. And when we can just ask the question, how is this serving me? How does this connect? That's key. Okay. So energetics of ROI, I spoke about enough through this. Like I said, I have a 90-minute class on this. That's so important. But I think what's really just to bring forward that our investments are not just money, it's our time and our energy. And it's all about the power of being all in, because we can just spend money. We can just throw money out there and money can just disappear. But what is it to actually be all in on the investment? Like, what does it actually mean to be invested? And starting to play with that. Like, what are the energetics I'm working with my investments? Like this class that you came into, you invested, you paid money to be in this class. If you're here with us live, it's like, doesn't matter the dollar amount. If you're here live and you came in and you're on and you've been listening and you've been invested with your intention, your energy, like, how are you going to command a return? How are you going to make this work for you? So ultimately, it's not just by being in the mind, but it's what is an action that I can take and the frequency that's activated from being invested. Because it's not enough to just think our way. We have to take the action. What is the inspired action to take? This is the difference between people who hustle their way into success and people who move in through life strategically, intentionally into success. It's not about doing more, it's about the precision and the intention in which you're doing things, right? So if you can very intentionally, perfect. Thank you for staying on in your transition, and thank you for going over with me. I'm not good with time limits. That's not my thing. I don't abide by time rules. It's not my thing. I want to give you all I got. Yeah, so it's making the inspired action. It's not about doing more. It's about having more precision in what you do. More precision in what you do. Yeah, we're here. Rule breakers here. Okay. All right, so, and we're on time. I want to show you some ways that you can come and play in my world. So, and this is a way to make that inspired action, right? It's a way to stay invested if you are so inspired to do so. All right, so the Diamond Light Temple, I don't have a pretty branding graphic yet for that. I have this amazing woman, her name's Shauna, who's been doing my branding for the past like 6 months. And I love the branding because what I do, the work that I do is so in the realms of the mystery, that unless you're on a call like this with me, I can't summarize this in a post. I can't summarize my body of work in a post. But what this woman started to do when I tell her, this is my program and this is what I want for a graphic, I feel like the graphics have started to communicate what I can't communicate in a post. So I want to say I'm in love with my graphics. So as I start to show you all the things in my world, the graphics are a big piece of this. I have not yet done my Diamond Light Temple graphic, but that Facebook group. So send me a link or send me a message if you want any of the links for any of the things, or search in the Spiritual Women of New England group. I'm always plugging in the Diamond Light Temple. I don't have a graphic for that yet, but I have a graphic for Liberation Beyond the False Matrix. So this is the program. It's free. It's when you go into that side, the Diamond Light Temple, there's the guide section. Inside the guide section, you'll see there's maybe like 10 different programs in there. Seriously, there's a lot. All things feminine embodiment, sexuality, codes of the rose, priestess things, liberation beyond the false matrix, business thing, like all the things. They're all in there. The money wounds class, which I need to get a graphic for. So the two classes I recommend for anyone who's digging what I'm talking about in this is start with Liberation Beyond the False Matrix. It's 4 modules, and definitely do the Money Wounds class, which is 2 modules. And the work inside, like the whole concept that we're talking about in Money Wounds can be applied to everything in life. It's all about alchemy and personal power. So that's free inside the Diamond Light Temple. I have a membership called the Priestess Membership. As of right now, it's $88 a month. So super low ticket. I want this to be accessible. You get all of the replays to the Diamond Light Temple call. You get a monthly exclusive class. And every quarter, I do like a fun bonus. So last quarter, the women that were inside and active got my program Thaw. So now it's available to purchase separately. This time around, I have a new program that starts on Monday. It's Monday through Friday. It's 5 modules, all on the codes of Venus. So we're looking at feminine alchemy, feminine embodiment. We're looking at the underworld. We're looking at wealth. We're looking at opulence. We're looking at relationships. We're looking at sensuality. It's all of the magic of the feminine. So for women inside of the Priestess membership, that's a 5-day bonus that starts on Monday that you will receive. Yeah, everyone says the Priestess membership is a no-brainer investment. I overgive my heart out in there. And when I say overgive, let me say I overdeliver because there's no overgiving. Everything is like, I am so excited to give. I do not stretch beyond what I don't want to give. When it comes to immersive programs, the Feminine Momentum bundle I did specifically for feminine entrepreneurs is mind-blowing. So this is 3 programs. First, it was Shatter, which is all about finding your upper ceiling limit. And when we find this, when we find that edge, we find that like, oh my God, this is what I thought was the top of the top, and breaking that. It's called Shatter Breaking Glass Ceilings. That was the first of 3 programs inside of this bundle. So it's the upper ceiling limit. What are the ways I've been playing small? How can I break into the next level? The second program inside the Feminine Momentum bundle is called Conviction. And this is one of my favorite things that I've ever done. It's working so solidly with the frequency of I am and how to work in this world, commanding success, commanding your desires through the frequency of I am, through conviction. And then that's a 2-day, it was 2 or 3 days. I believe it was 2 days. And then Feminine Momentum was either 3 or 4 days. This was last summer. And the Feminine Momentum program, which is the third inside the Feminine Momentum bundle, is all about how do we build momentum while staying in the body based? How do we build momentum while being energetics led? How do we build it without the force, without the hustle, and really understand a deeper embodiment of alchemy, and cyclical living in a way that's not just, I want to say spiral living, right? So we're not just on the hamster wheel doing the same things over and over and over again, but how do we actually move that momentum up the spiral? So those 3 programs inside the Feminine Momentum bundle are like epic for all entrepreneurs. The program I just ran last month, this is the one like I cried every single day. The opening song to that was Madonna's song Frozen. I don't know if you remember that song, but that was like the anthem for this program. I go put it on after this because it's so good. But the Heart Awakened Womb, an embodiment journey for feminine alchemy, for magic, miracles, and manifestation. Like most of the manifestation classes and courses that are out there are not accurate. They're only partial, like it's part of the information. They're not actually giving the full embodied alchemy, what we need to be doing to be living the things that we desire. And this program was the work that took me from being homeless in the jungles of Hawaii to manifesting a partner who had a home in the jungle and all of these things. It was like the ultimate, like this was the path of how I manifested all of the things, multi 6 figures in my business. This is the work, the manifestation work of how I brought everything into my life, how it came. Okay. So I have 2 masterminds coming up. Thank you for staying. The Exalt Mastermind, this has been ongoing, and I'm playing with the way that I open doors for this. So this is for entrepreneurial women on the Sacred Feminine Embodiment Path who are here to claim it all: the business, the relationship, the money, the sacred sexuality, the magic. The women in here are growing. They're like multi 6-figure businesses. They're doing it in a way that's holistic. We talk about all of the things. We have a blast. It's total community, hive mind sisterhood. It's absolutely incredible. So this is a 6-month commitment. And with the Exalt Mastermind, you get access to the Priestess membership. You get access to all of my programs. And there's so many I haven't talked about, so many, but you get access to all of the programs, the Priestess the Priestess membership, and then you have the Exalt calls and a Telegram thread. And it's really that space for women who want to blow it up. It's a bigger investment. It's on the higher end of my offers, but it's that place if you're really ready to go all in, if you want to lean in. No matter when you're watching this replay, reach out to me, because depending on the timing when the doors are open, it's a 6-month minimum commitment, but this is that place. You have all the resources, you have the sisterhood, you have the community. And yeah, you get access to all of the things. It's like VIP in all the ways. So Coming up, this is kind of like the last thing. I'll show you two more programs, but I have a brand new, this is the first time I've revealed this graphic, so I'm so excited. Oracle the Mastermind. So this is a different mastermind from Exalt. It's 4 weeks. And it's all on feminine embodiment and feminine energetics. And it can be how it applies to all areas of life. But of course, I have a passion for entrepreneurial women in business. This is like a hyper mind mastermind. It's so short and it's so condensed that the fire, the heat is really hot. Like it's going to be really, really hot. So the way that this mastermind is structured is calls are going to be, it's 4 Tuesdays in a row of calls. And then Wednesdays and Thursdays are all days in Telegram. So you get to fire off your questions. With Exalt, we have Power Hour once a week. I have it after our call today, actually. And the power hours are so fun because everyone sends their voice memos and their questions and everything feeds off of each other. So what I'm doing for Oracle, which is different from Exalt, is we're going to have 2 full days of Telegram together. And this is where you bring all of it. You bring your story, you bring your medicine, and it's really working in that hive mind, but with the intention of mastering feminine embodiment and feminine energetics. It's going to be so fun. It's going to be so magical. So lastly, I've talked about codes of Venus. So this is included with the priestess membership, or it's available to purchase on its own. So it's only available to priestess members if you're active now. And once the Venus program ends, then it's available to purchase on its own. So this is starting Monday. It's 5 days. We're going into the artistry of feminine power. It's going to be epic. My signature program, the very first program I ever birthed into the world, was the Magdalene Embodiment Activation. And this was 4 years ago. It was like 11 o'clock at night or 1 o'clock at night. Both of those are very late times for me. I don't remember what it was, but I had this jolt in my bed and I got up and I just started writing all of these modules, like my structure, all just dumped forward. And I birthed, at the time, it was called the Sacred Feminine Embodiment Activation. So this, if I were to say there's one signature core program of like how I'm here, what I am here to do that encapsulates all of it, it's this program. It's the Magdalene Embodiment Activation. And I've run it twice, and this will be the third time that I'm running it live. And this will be something that I always run live because it's alive. It is alive, and it's ritual, and it's ceremony, it's priestess temple arts, and it's all about awakening your oracle, awakening your connection to God. But we're also, of course, it's not separate from the wealth codes. It's not separate from living your mission. It's all the same. It's all interconnected, I should say. So as of right now, the Magdalene Embodiment Activation, I have it on sale at half price right now because I haven't set a date for it. So it's like, all right, this program's going to start either June, July. I don't think it's going to start in August. I think it's going to start in June or July. So because I don't have a start date yet, just knowing it's going to come out in the summer, I'm like, all right, we're going to do it half price for $1,111. So if people want to get in at the half price mark and wait for details to come in, perfect. And I'm doing a bundle that includes Oracle, the mastermind. So Oracle is going to start in the 4th week of April and go into the first 2 weeks of May. It's 4 weeks. So it's going to start end of April, April and May. And then there's going to be a little break and we'll go into Magdalene Embodiment Activation. So Oracle, the mastermind, if you are inside the priestess membership, the Oracle mastermind is only $555. If you're not inside the priestess membership, then it's $777. So the bundle of these two programs, which, like I said, it's like the creme de la creme of my offerings right now. They're so alive, and Exalt includes all of the things, of course. So to bundle Oracle, the mastermind, and Magdalene Embodiment Activation, if you're inside the priestess membership, it's $1,555. And if you're not, it's $1,777. And there's payment plans available, all of the things. So these are ways that you can come into my world. Definitely start with the Diamond Light Temple. Definitely jump into the Priestess membership. As of right now, let me stop my share. As of right now, the price is $88. It will go up at any time. I kind of do it like I don't prepare. It's like when it's called to go up, it goes up. But when you join at the rate, you stay at that rate. So women came in at a $55 rate. And because they've stayed the whole time, they stay at the $55. So if you come into Priestess at the $88 rate and the rate goes up, you stay at the $88 forever. And the value just goes up and up and up and up and up. Like you're going in there and you're getting an arsenal of classes as soon as you get there. Like you have all of the things. Okay. So these are all the ways that you can stay in touch. Let me close this real quick. If you have any questions, you can find me across the socials in all the ways, Nikki Ananda. I'm hanging out in the Spiritual Women in New England group. I'm hanging out on Facebook, on Instagram, and yeah, stay in touch. I hope to see you in the Diamond Light Temple. Ciao.